Hello and welcome back to the Demis Hellen channel. We're going to be taking a look at the brand new Spectral synth from Steinberg that is Extreme, and this is available to everybody, including those outside of the Cubase environment. Also, this is a paid sponsorship, so I just want to make you aware of that, but I always do these videos where I do genuinely believe in the product. So there we are, you can hear Extreme sounds really good in the context of electronic dance music. I've seen a lot of videos that are using the cinematic and the ambient route and sort of the ethereal voices and effects and things like that. It's great for stuff like that, spectral synthesis. But using it in an electronic dance music capacity is something that you can definitely do, because you can use it as a sampler and then beef it up. And I just want to start by showing you how to load the initial patch for Extreme. I've seen a few people struggling with this. If you click on this little folder here to open the media bay, and then here where it says programs, select layers, and you'll see initialize Extreme. But if I just shut this down a second and bring it back up, if we select layers here, you might be brought to this screen. You can just choose Extreme, and again, the initial Extreme preset there. And you can reset everything to its defaults, so you can just drag and drop your own sampling. And the sample that I'm going to be using today, I'm just going to shut that media bay, is one from a Trance Essentials pack, the Dave Parkinson Trance Essentials Volume 2. If you want to use the exact same one, it's Synth Stab number 3 in the key of A. But what you can do is use any sample that is in the key of A minor if you want to use the same one as me, but you can use any sample you want in here. It doesn't have to be chords, it can just load any sample in there. But to get this particular sound, we're using A minor, so that's A, C and E. So I'm going to drag and drop that on there, and you can see it'll load it in, and this is what it's going to sound like from the get-go. So you can see from the Spectral window, we've got a little bit of a mush of sound here just happening. There's a lot of stuff going on in the initial attack of the sound, and then it sort of smooths out. So we're going to do a couple of things to smooth this off. So just looking through, just to familiarize yourself, we've got the Spectral section here with all the Spectral controls. We've got the stacking system here on the right, and then we've got all the usual controls like pitch and filters here, and then other usual suspects, LFOs, right through to EQs, delays, and reverbs. If we click on the Spectral bar here at the top, we have an extra section where we can load in spectral filters, and we have control over the pitch and amp envelopes, etc. here. So to get that sound, we're going to speed this up. So somewhere in that sort of 12 o'clock position will work. And then I'm going to shift the position here so it starts just a little bit after that mushy section. So that sounds a bit cleaner now. And then we can further clean this up by using the blur time and depth controls. I'm going to leave blur depth where it is, but I'm just going to show you what it does. And then blur time does this. So more of the original sample. And you can really smooth it out. So I'm going to leave the blur time roughly sort of pointing up at 12 o'clock. So that's about 1000, I think, on the settings. But I'm going to trigger direct. And what this is going to do, instead of the blur sort of happening across the spectrum, it's actually going to hit it on the first note hit. So as soon as the key hits, we're going to hear all of that blur happen at the same time. So at first it sounds like it's bypassed the blur time, but it hasn't, so we can still control this. But it's more direct, as that switch suggests. So with that, we've got the basis of our sound. We've got the purity and the inharmonics. You can have a mess around with those. They start to mess up the sound, but we can change the tone and timbre with that. So I'm just going to put them back to 100 and 0 on that one. And then we can control the width here as well. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. And that is pretty much the basics of the sound done there. But you can hear that Spectral engine sounds really nice. It sounds clean once we have that direct switch on for that sort of like electronic dance music feel. And then we can jump into the stacking system. So this is my favorite part here for making these sort of sounds. And essentially what we can do is activate what seem like 4 more layers. So you can see here it's set to -12, -24, +12 and +19 for some reason. So I'm going to put 24 and we can blend in different octaves. We've got different octaves there. But what I'm going to do is mix in the lower one and the 2 upper ones. I'm going to leave the very lowest one because we don't need it. It's just a bit too low. And suddenly the sound just comes alive. And we have pure switch up here, which will just make sure, you can see there, pure intonation. That'll just make sure that any sort of things that are offset from the key. So for example, if it's an A note and on the Spectral side of it, it's just like hitting, let's say -8 or -9 cents or +9 cents, whatever it might be, slightly out of tone. It'll just make sure everything's nice and lined up. So the problem that we have here, and I'm just going to jump into this, we're adjusting the pitch by 3, so +3. The reason is when you load these in, Cubase loads it onto C3. So if I hit C3 without changing that pitch to +3, that A minor chord is hitting on C3. So what we're going to do is grab the A, so here, and then we go 1, 2, 3 to reach that C3, and then that way everything's in tune, so you can play it on a keyboard just like you would do with the rest of your song. Otherwise it's 3 semitones out and you're going to find it's not going to match up on the keyboard. Okay, so we're going to jump through now to the filters for the Spectral section, so the Spectral filter. And I'm going to show you the power of this over the EQ. We're going to use the EQ as well, but this is going to shape the Spectral tonality of the sound. And I really do like this one. So what we need to do is turn this on, and I'm just going to double click and just create a couple of points like this. And then these are the areas that I'm going to focus on. And then I'm going to create a point in the middle there. So you can see here, it's just not quite on 0. So we can set these back to 0 just by selecting them. And just have a listen to what it does. So I'm probably not displaying this to the best of its ability, but you can hear that we could really change up the sound of that just by making some drastic cuts and peaks there. Now we're going to just chuck on some EQ. So we want a bit more weight out of this sound. So I'm just transferring where the energy needs to flow in this particular sound. So just a bit more weight and then a boost at the 1K and the 5K roughly, and then a high boost. Then on the delay, I'm just going to leave everything as it comes, but I'm just going to turn up the lows and just bring down the mix a little bit. Just so we've got a little bit of movement left and right. And then the reverb, turn the chorus off. Pre-delay up so it allows the sound to ring through a little bit first. I'm going to increase the room size, bring the width down a smidge, and then I'm going to bring up this high slider and set this to about 5,500 hertz, I think, something like that. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head what I did for the original sound. And then you can change the shape of that room as well. And I seem to think it works nicer in the headphones anyway, around 71 for this sound. So there we are, that is Extreme. I'm going to show you my effects chain, but I just want to firstly just thank Cubase for contacting me and allowing me to do this video and just give me the sort of like creative aspect of this to create something totally different to what I'm seeing on YouTube at the moment. So that is Extreme within Hellen Sonic. So let's just have one look at the inserts here. So if I turn these back on, you can see what I've got going on here. I've turned Simplon off. That is a filtering system because I've just used the built-in filter. But just on here, we're doing a bit of a roll off on the lows just to bring out some of the lows and remove them for the track. And then we have an instance of wider, just boosting the width a little bit more outside of the plugin. A clipper just to control the stray peaks that happen within the sound. And then we have ROM running the standard preset, and you can see I've made the adjustments to this. So I've added an extra layer of reverb on the top. And then a little bit of sidechain there, and you could use the effects modulator for the sidechain. It's just this is what we're using at the time, but that is the final sound, and this is what it sounds like in the track. So there we have it, that is Extreme. Thank you again to Cubase for the sponsorship, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Take care.